Hello, welcome to the channel. I am Chris Master 2K and today we're doing Railway Empire 2. We're going to do scenario 2, which is star logistics. Now I've done this scenario before and I've got a pretty good score, so that's me at number 63 with a 742. There's a few things I'm going to try differently on this playthrough. So this was done with the Professor and this was done with pauses. Not too many pauses, but enough to be more than one pause. So today I'm going to try it with a general couple of reasons. Number one, laying our track is quite cheap and we do not need to build many tunnels and bridges in this level, so we can get the benefit from the freight and the mail, and actually the downside to it isn't too bad. Now for those of you that have seen my playthroughs before, I'm going to do this playthrough with just one pause. What do I mean by that? Well, when this level loads I'm going to press the space bar, pause the game, lay some track, sort out the trains. But once I press spacebar again, I'm not going to press it again. So we let the game run, and we do it without any further pauses. Now a little caveat to that, at various points I will press escape and have a comfort break, because doing these recordings is surprisingly tiring, and at some point I'll need a cup of tea. But you get the idea. So it's going to be a continuous playthrough. If there's mistakes, so be it. We're not going to do little micromanaging things by pausing. We're just going to let the game flow.
So get started. I've already written you a list of tasks.
So we'll have a quick look at our tech tree. Now, broadly speaking, what we want to do with this end of the tech tree is we want to get through to the Brooks Mogul, but the reason for that is we want to pick up this one to nudge up our immigration, because there's a lot of city growth that needs to happen in this level. So we'll flick right back to the beginning. So I'm using A on the keyboard to do that, and let's just see what we're missing. So that's okay for maintenance time. Residual value is okay. Passengers. So I've got a couple of really useful ones over here for passengers. That's going to need to make me think about whether I want to bag them early. Maintenance, tunnel constructions aren't any use because we don't need to build any tunnels on this level. That's tunnel construction. So we've got this one here. So we don't need to reduce bridges. I think I might take one of the revenue ones. That's passengers by 5%. Well, let's take one of them for now. Let's take the cheaper one. And I think we'll save our points for this bit here, because we might want to boost that later on. Okay, so that's us done with the tech tree for now. Now it's time to lay some track. So we'll start at St. Louis. Huntington's warehouse is going to form a star in terms of supplying 6 goods around the map, but St. Louis is very much going to be our passenger star, because everything from the east side of the map through to the west side of the map is going to go through here. So we're going to put a station there, and then we'll pop one in Columbia over here, and then we're going to build our first bridge in the game. And the question is, how cheap can we do the whole line? So that's 78, and then we'll just tinker around with bits of it just to see if we can get some aspects slightly cheaper. 77, 76. 75? That was 75. 75 was there. Because the little pennies we can save at this stage will help us later on. And then this one. Okay, so I'm going from platform 2 here into platform 2 over here. We'll build that and then we will double track it. Now there's a bit of backstory for me with this level, because having done when I started playing this game, which was only I think last year, I'd done all the campaigns and I went to this one and I found it really, really hard, and I kind of lost motivation for playing the game. In fact, I took quite a big break from it. So recently, as you can see, I've managed to get a much higher score on it by getting a 742 and coming 63rd on the leaderboard. And when I thought I'd start posting up videos of my playthroughs with only one pause, this one and the Indianapolis race were two of the levels I thought, oh gosh, that's going to be a tough one to do. But we'll see what's possible. So again, let's just see if we can get our cost down. So 84, and let's see what this one can do. 84, 81. I think I'll accept 81. So track 1 going into track 2 to St. Louis. So Louisville to St. Louis. I'm pretty sure I'm going to say one of those wrong by the end of this video, but at least I've started with saying them correctly. So that's it. So these ones here, these are the only ones we're going to double platform at the beginning. Essentially we're trying to save a little bit of money, and if we can save money, that might be enough for an extra train, and an extra train or two right at the start can make a big difference. So 75 kilometers max. Can we get you 41, 43? I think I preferred you before, except I don't know how I did that. $42. And we'll bring this all the way up to here and connect in there. Oh, you're not going to be difficult, are you? There we go. Built. And then we'll get some tracks off St. Louis down to Huntington's warehouse. So that's pretty good. 38, we'll lock that in. And we will double platform Huntington's. So if I just show you the tasks quickly to start with, we've got several cities that are already 40,000. So if we set our network to connect them all in at the start, it's a very quick way of getting that task done. We've got a bit of a choice about how we connect Nashville into Huntington's warehouse. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have these trains approaching from the north. So we're going to bring you across here and connect it onto here. We'll have a little spur coming out here. Not a spur, little junction coming over here. And just while we're at it, we'll pop a junction on this one as well. Let's just make sure we've got good directions. Here we we go, down there. Okay, now it's time to include Memphis. Memphis we're going to place on this side and we're going to orientate it in this direction. Have it like that. We're going to have a line from Memphis coming up to the warehouse. 39, 36. And we're not going to double track it all the way to Memphis. Put our gridiron in. At some point in the future we will build a bypass around Huntington's warehouse to allow the Memphis traffic to get to St. Louis uninterrupted, but not just yet. It's on my mental list of things to do. So we've got Kansas City. That's 47. And we'll just check with these, see if we can save. There we can. 41. 41,503. 41. So we're now going to connect in Fayetteville, and once we've connected Fayetteville in, we'll complete the first task. So we'll start down here. We're going to orientate this train station this way. Just start again, I don't like the look of that gradient. So there's 79. Okay, that's okay.
A start. Slower than I had hoped, but definitely above my expectations of you.
Okay, so we've got the basic layout for our network all sorted. And now we have to think a bit strategically about how we're going to run things. So, big priority is to grow St. Louis, and the other big priority is to get the clothing through the warehouse. So I've tried different ways of stockpiling this in other warehouses to send it through Huntington's warehouse, and it doesn't work. So it seems like these goods have to go direct from point A from the warehouse to point B. So don't try clever tricks, they won't work. Don't waste your time with those. Okay, so one of the big things, however, is that whilst we want all our cities to grow, we don't want some of them to grow too quickly. So Memphis starts at 42, but I want these 9 items of clothing to leave and go through Huntington's warehouse to a different city. What that means is that until that happens, I do not want Memphis to be larger than 50, because as soon as Memphis gets to 50, guess what? It suddenly keeps a load of clothing for itself, and it just really, really slows things down and worsens your score. Same for Indianapolis up here. So Indianapolis is at 41, but as soon as it gets to 60 for our second phase tasks, it's going to start having the liquor. And we could say the same later on for Fayetteville for the paper, and for Columbia for the ceramics. Louisville and Nashville, they're so late in the game it doesn't really matter too much. So let's focus on what we want to grow most to start with, because that's what we're going to have to pick and choose with our trains. So let's just change the name of the station to Corn East, and we're going to put a little track here. So we got that 41. What happens if I do that? 44. Let's go back to 41. Actually, can I do anything with this one? 41. Okay. And we'll create, because we've paid for the 2 platforms already, we'll create a little gridiron here. And we'll get our corn running. So Corn East, Louisville, St. Louis, back to Louisville. We'll have you as a manual train. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can drop 4 in Louisville, and then you can take those over. And don't forget that for any mail or any passengers with our character, we get a bonus. So if on our return we can get them carrying things, that's good. So we got corn going into St. Louis. Now let's get wood going into St. Louis. And now we need to have a little bit of a think about what we're going to send over. So we'll send some grain into St. Louis. Just going to rename this one. This is going to be Grain Veg Depot, because sometimes we're going to put in a warehouse there. And the next thing I want to do is get the sugar onto the network. So just with my final bit of money, I'm just going to do a couple of spurs over here before we get a bond. 1,000. That just means that when we do start building our bypass. We're not going to disrupt anything on these main lines as they come through. Okay, let's focus on St. Louis. We'll take the small one, we'll take the big one. Now our next bond becomes available to us in about mid-February. So Indianapolis, St. Louis, through Columbia, down to Fayetteville, and then let's retrace our steps. And we're going to have this as a manual one, and this is going to be called Beer Train Fayetteville. And we're going to start with some beer in here. We're going to drop off 3 in St. Louis, and then we're going to take passengers, mail. And then when we get to Columbia, we're going to drop those off, and then we're going to take passengers, mail. And we're going to leave 5 beer in Fayetteville. And on our way back, we're going to pick up some cloth. We'll drop a couple off in Columbia. But we'll drop 3 off in Columbia. And when we get to St. Louis, we're going to drop the whole lot off. And then we're back to Indianapolis. And our locomotive for that, we're going to put on a consolidation. So I know it runs on long lines, because that's this bit down here to Fayetteville. Now as soon as we get some money, I will double track this all the way down. But for this point in the level, I'm just trying to get some trains up and running. What we're going to do is we're going to copy the line. We're going to change the order, and then we're going to call this one Cloth Train Fayetteville, and that's going to do the opposite of what we've just done. What that means is that we're going to get our connection bonus early. We're going to get our connection bonus from Fayetteville to Columbia early. Also means we're going to get cloth coming to St. Louis quite quickly. Okay, so that's got beer coming to it, that's got cloth coming to it. Let's get some sugar going to it. Now sugar, do you know what? I will put Columbia on this. Put Columbia there, put Columbia there. We do not have very much sugar on this level, so we have to sprinkle it. It's a nice thought, isn't it? Just sprinkling the sugar. So we're going to start with this amount. We're going to drop a couple off there. I'll be kind, I'll drop 1 off in Columbia. And then when we get to... I want to be that way around, don't I? So when I get here, we're going to drop these off. Columbia, I might take some meat across to Kansas City. We're going to do that one, Columbia, Fayetteville, back to St. Louis. So Kansas City, I go to Fayetteville, you're going to unload everything. And you're going to come back from Fayetteville with a lot of cloth. When you get to Columbia, you can drop off. You can drop off some, can't you? I think because I misordered it before, it's got a bit grumpy. Okay, well, just take some of those. When you get to St. Louis, you can get rid of everything. We're going to call you Sugar Train St. Louis, Kansas, Fayetteville. So St. Louis has got sugar, it's got corn, it's got veg going to it. It should have wood going to it as well. Let's just check on it. See what trains it's got going to it. I'm going to change that name to wood depot. So it's got grain, it's got sugar, it's got corn, it's got cloth, it's got beer, it's making its own meat. Lovely. Let's change our name to wood depot. Now we've got to work out how we're going to grow these two. So let's just have a little bit of extra track here. And we're going to send a train from here to here. Have you as a consolidation, and we'll just repeat the train line and send you down here to Nashville. So we want Memphis to grow, we want Nashville to grow, we want Louisville to grow. And I'll just show you something I'm going to do now. For this city, level, when you are running trains from city to city, carrying any sort of freight, you have to be really, really careful, and you have to make sure that you don't accidentally take goods that otherwise would go through Huntington's warehouse. So I'll take beer out to Louisville. Hang on, we'll do it as an automatic. Put a consolidation on it. Again, no, we don't want to take that. No, we don't want to take that. And I'm going to run a line up to St. Louis, again automatic. Do not take that. Good. So the final train I'm going to run at this stage is an automatic train between these two, and that's to collect my Kansas City bonus quickly. So I'm going to put up what I call ghost trains now. So I'm going to have a ghost train, wood depot. I want you to come all the way to Louisville, and you're going to be freight, and you're going to be a consolidation. Okay, and let's copy your line, and I'm going to have you also coming to Nashville. And ultimately, I'm going to want to copy your line and have you coming to Memphis. So I've got wood coming from the west to the east. All our wood is on this side of the map. All our grain is on this side of the map. All of our beer is on this side of the map. Most of our cloth is over here with the exception of Memphis. Other thing I want is I want to get my expresses up and running once I get some money. So if we just create these as ghost trades now, express, pop one of those on. That's St. Louis to Columbia. Gotcha. And let's just repeat you. That's not what I meant to do. That is not what I meant to do. St. Louis to Columbia. Have you going to Louisville? And then we'll repeat you. Have you going to Nashville? We'll have a ghost train ready to go to Memphis. So I've got my ghost trains ready. And we'll just do a final check on our trains. So we've got beer, we've got cloth. I actually want to get some beer going through to Fayetteville as soon as I can. So where's my beer train to Fayetteville? Okay, I'm going to create a copy of the line and I'm going to put Kansas City where Fayetteville is. So let's just look at Columbia. We're going to empty everything out there. And then going back from Kansas City. Oh, rubbish. Didn't mean to do that. Coming back from Kansas City through Columbia to St. Louis and then at Indianapolis. I can just get rid of that. Indianapolis, everything changes. And we're going to call this Beer Train Kansas. So if I have a look on this, once I get going, I've got quite a few trains that I can just bring to life. So I've got St. Louis, Columbia, Louisville, Nashville, Memphis. Get a ghost train on this line as well. Fayetteville to Columbia. Okay, I feel as prepared as I can be. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to press escape, I'm going to take a comfort break, and I'll see you all in the next video. Okay, goodbye for now, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video today. Remember to comment, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.